Hello, Ajay sir. Hello, Amol sir. Pranshu. Should we get started with the event?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So welcome everyone to the event. I would like to introduce our speakers, Mr. Amol Srivastav, who is an IAS officer. He has started his professional career as a big data scientist in 2014, and in 2018 he cleared CSE with an All India rank of 83 in his second attempt. Also, we have with us Mr. Ajay Shah, who's an expert faculty in GS Core. He teaches ethics and integrity, polity, and current affairs. Welcome, sir, to the event.
Fine. Fine, Amrita. So, how we are going to move in this session? So, hi everyone. Very good evening. This is Ajay Shah. So, the topic of this webinar is how to prepare for civil services examination. So, how we are going to move in this webinar? First, I will speak. I will give you a general introduction about UPSC, and then I will ask Mr. Amol Srivastava to have his views. And apart from this, we want you people to be a little interactive so that we can answer all of your questions in this live session. So let us start the session. So this is all about UPSC Civil Services Examination. So let us first understand what is UPSC. So UPSC, that is Union Public Service Commission of India, is an examination taking body set up by established by Government of India. It's a constitutional body, and it conducts lot of examination. There are many examinations, but out of all the examinations, civil services examination is said to be the most popular examination. And when the people say UPSC, it is assumed to be the examination of civil services examination, which is also known as IAS examination, IPS examination, civil services examination. Now, just a minute. Yeah. So if you talk about the pattern of this UPSC examination, then UPSC conducts the civil service examination every year, and any graduate who is at least of 21 years of age on 1st of August of appearing year, he can appear in this examination. Now, if we talk about the pattern of this examination, then this examination is a very long process, and there are basically three stages in this examination, but UPSC also call it two stages. So the first stage is prelims stage, then we have mains stage, and at last we have the stage of interview. Fine. Now, if we talk about the prelims stage, then prelims stage is objective in nature. So UPSC is going to check your skill of MCQ solving techniques and all, and there will be purely objective test in prelims examination. Now, prelims examination can be divided into two parts, two papers, that is paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 2 is only qualifying in nature. So you people must have heard about a term that is called CSAT, Civil Services Aptitude Test, because there was a lot of controversy with respect to civil services in 2012. So now, as of today, the CSAT paper is only qualifying in nature. That is, you just have to score at least 33% marks in CSAT to qualify this prelims stage, okay, to get your name in the merit list. Now, how UPSC prepares a merit list? UPSC prepares a merit list only on the basis of paper 1. Now, what is paper 1? Paper 1 is called general studies. And if you take about the subjects of general studies, then we have history is there, then science is there, economics is there, then we have geography, environment, current affairs. So these are the some topics, some subjects in this prelims examination. And in total, you will get 100 questions in prelims examination of GS paper. Out that will be of 200 marks. And normally the cutoff of prelims examination is around 50%, like 105, 106. At times it is even 96, 98 out of 200 to qualify this prelims examination. Now, once you qualify prelims examination, you go to the stage of mains examination. And the gap between mains examination and prelims examination is approximately of 3 to 4 months. Now, when you go to the mains examination, it entirely is a paper of subjective type, and you have to write your answers. So, objective prelims was objective, mains is going to be subjective. Now, if you talk about the success ratios, then around 7 lakhs people appear in prelims examination. Approximately 4 to 4.5 lakhs actually appear in the examination. And every year, it's a trend that UPSC selects approximately 10,000 to 14,000 students from this prelims examination. And so in mains examination, 10,000 to 14,000 people will appear in the mains examination. Okay. Now let us talk about the pattern of this mains examination. Now, mains examination, again, you will have to appear in the paper of general studies. So general studies paper are there in mains examination, and there are four papers of general studies: paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and paper 4. And each paper is of 250 marks. If you talk about the subjects in general studies mains, then apart from the subjects which I just told you about prelims examination, there are many subjects which are part of exclusive mains examination. For example, here you'll have to study world history, which was not there in prelims examination. Then disaster management will be there, internal security will be there, Indian society will be there, governance will be there, science and tech is of little advanced level, and apart from this, ethics paper is also there in this mains examination. So if we talk about the subject, then in prelims and mains examination, almost all the subject that you hear, right from philosophy, psychology, geography, everything is there in the mains examination. So what I told you that in mains examination there will be four papers of GS, each paper of 250 marks. Now there will be a fifth paper that will be called essay paper. Now there is no fixed syllabus of essay, and UPSC can throw you any topic under the sun. It can be an essay on Gandhism, it can be an essay on science and tech, it can be an essay on international relation. So this paper demands some kind of innovation, and this is the only paper in UPSC which demands your ideas, innovation, and how good you are in articulation and expression of ideas. That is being checked in the paper of cases. So total we have five papers till now, and then the next two papers will be there on optional subject. When we say optional subject, then optional subject is a subject in UPSC that is purely subjected to the demand and choice of the people. For example, someone can go for political science, someone can go for philosophy, someone can go for English literature, and there are in total there are 26 subjects in these optional subjects, among which you have to choose one. In the 26th part there is a literature, so we have options of choosing English literature, Hindi literature. There are so many things which you can see in the notification. So four paper of GS, then essay, and then again two paper of optional. Now there will be two more papers, and these two papers will be on the basis of language. So if you are talking about the person who are from Hindi belt, they will have to appear in two papers. That is first English and then Hindi. Now these two papers, which are language paper, they are again qualifying in nature, and their marks are not taken while preparing the final merit list. So all of this mains paper, that is 1750 marks paper, will be there of mains examination. And again, out of 12,000, 14,000, whatever the number of students is in mains examination, UPSC will select again approximately 2,500 to 3,000 people for the third stage, that is called interview stage. And then these 2,000, 3,000 people will go for the interview stage. In interview stage, again, there will be process of interview, and there is 275 marks in interview. So 1750 plus 275 marks in interview. So merit list will be prepared out when marks of mains examination and interview will be combined, and on the basis of that there will be a final merit list by UPSC examination. So this was about the pattern structure of UPSC. Now as far as the strategy is concerned, I would request our ranker Mr. Amol Srivastav to throw some light over how one can make a strategy, how one can prepare for this examination. Fine, so Amol, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much for such a detailed uh, explanation of the pattern and how the exam goes. And my good evening to all the people who are listening. Am I audible, sir, properly? Okay. So now after that detailed pattern and the setup of the examination, it will be easier for all the listeners to understand how we need to prepare. So uh, first thing first, I would say that all of you who are listening to this seminar, you all are part of the college. So I would say college is the golden time to prepare for this examination, because right now you guys have a lot of time with you, uh, and you have minimum 2 to 3 years where you can give this examination. So you can use this time really well, judiciously. You can use this time so that when you go out of your college, when you graduate from your college, so that time there are many troubles that an aspirant has to face. You will be saved from that. The first trouble is to get settled. Once you graduate, it's very difficult to settle down properly in a good job at a good place. That pressure is always on you. Then the society also has a pressure. What is your status? Where are you posted right now, or what company you are placed in? What is your package? These many things are there. Then there are so many people who have the pressure of getting married right after graduation. And a very important pressure, which I think most of the aspirants they go through, is the peer pressure. Because once you are an UPSC aspirant, you either plan to take some break from your placements or from your higher studies. That time, your other batchmates would be placed in very good companies. Then most of them would have gone out to pursue their masters, or would have cleared CAT or some other examination. So you will have that kind of pressure on your head that you are not doing anything, and you are working for something which is so uncertain that you might even not know when you are going to clear this examination and when you are going to get settled. So these are the troubles that every aspirant faces after the college. Now, since you are in college, no, you don't have any accountability. Nobody is going to ask that what are you doing right now. You have 3-4 years with you. Where whatever you do, nobody is going to question. It will always be treated like you are doing your college. Also, in college, to some extent, you are able to manage your own time really well, because once you start working, you become dependent on your job profile. But in college, you have a lot of time at your hand where you can manage yourself. The whole schedule of the semester is with you. That when are your session is going to happen, when you have your project presentations, when you have your final semester. So you can plan your study pretty well during your college. Secondly, during college, what helps is that because of these online mediums now, medias, there are so many coaching centers and so many free resources that have been available online, which any of the aspirant can use. So you don't have to come to Delhi and stay in Delhi, stay in PGs, give rent. There's some issue with your food and everything now because of COVID. It's all the more risky to come to Delhi and stay there. So being in college, you can take help of some of these online resources and manage your time really well. You can use your weekends. You can use your breaks, the summer breaks or the winter breaks that you get pretty well to make yourself aligned to whatever schedule that you have prepared. So this is why I would firstly just recommend that if you are planning to start, then you please start in your college. And if you use your time in college, then there's a very high probability that you might clear the exam in your first attempt. So you don't have to waste your 24 to 27 years of your age in preparing for this examination, because all the preparation you have already done before, and right after graduation you can prepare for that. So Ajay sir, I think I'll be open to all the questions. If you can put forth your questions, I'll be very happy to answer those questions.
Amrita, do we have questions from people? Okay. How to differentiate between static and dynamic part in PYQs, past year questions. Okay, fine. So Shrey, this can be done only when you have completed the syllabus and you are fully aware about everything. I will just tell you how. For example, just take the example of polity. So if you are totally aware about the syllabus of polity, about the constitution, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, blah, 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 then when you cover the syllabus, along with the syllabus, you also cover the current affairs. So for example, if Mr. A starts from January, and if when he completes polity, then along with polity, he will also complete all the current affairs with respect to polity. For example, he will be aware about all the recent judgment of Supreme Court with respect to right to privacy. He will be aware about all the Supreme Court judgment with respect to federalism and all. And when he will read also a static portion book, say for example M. Lakshmikant, then he will also be aware about all the recent updates which will be there in the book itself. And so when after you complete the entire syllabus along with the current affairs, and when after this you pick a book and that is question from past year question paper, then you can very easily differentiate that this question is from current affairs, and I can very easily skip this question. For example, when you will pick this past year questions, then you will find many questions with respect to right to property, fine, because that was in debate some times ago. Again, you will find some questions with respect to representation of people act during the time of TN session. So these questions were part of current affairs in that particular year. So the crux is that you can differentiate this only when you cover the entire syllabus along with the current affairs. Yeah, next question. Yeah, Amol, can you please answer this question?
See, answer writing expression, it's a long process, and it takes time to develop. So what you can do is that start writing something. If you are in college right now, you don't need to start writing UPSC answers. Just start writing something. It could be a daily diary. It could be some blog on any subject you like. Could be sports, could be entertainment, not necessarily politics or general knowledge or general studies or anything related to UPSC. It could be anything. Just start writing so that you will know that how well you are able to write, where all do you get stuck, what are the problems. It could be your handwriting, it could be your spelling, it could be your way of expression. So these things will improve over the time, and the more you read the newspaper, the more you read your UPSC books, your answer writing or your vocabulary or your way of expression will improve over the time. So one caveat which I would like to tell everybody by the means of this question is that in college we are under this impression that we have to write very high level English or very flowery or very fancy English, which is very difficult for understand. That will give a right impression to the examiner. That is not what you are thinking. You have to write in very simple terms, very simple language, short and sweet sentences. That is all is required, and I tell you the reason why. Because once we get into public service, we don't have to deal with book authors, and we don't have to go to literary events. We have to talk, or we have to issue orders to common people or to our subordinates, which are usually not so very good in English. So very simple language is the key, and if you write heavy words, if you write fancy words, then there's a high chance that you get penalized. So with this learning, I think you just start writing something, and over the time, maybe after 5-6 months, or after you are into the preparation for some time, say 4-5 months, and you have grasp of some content related to UPSC, then you can move on to the actual UPSC writing, and where you will have to focus on writing more things in less words. Now, how is that? If you want to know what exactly this means, writing more words, writing more content in few words, please read Yojana, Kurukshetra or Economic Survey. You will understand how in just one sentence the author has tried to explain so many different things and without diluting the meaning of that. So I think that will really help you.
Fine. Next question. What would be the strategy for geography? Amol, can you answer this question, please?
Geography was not my optional, so I can only tell about GS. So in GS, geography, if you see from past 3-4 years, static geography is not asked too much. It is mostly a combination of geography, environment, and disaster management, mostly related to the dynamic events. So, but unless and until you are thorough with the basics, it will be very difficult for you to answer questions on geography. So the right strategy would be to finish off NCERTs, class 6 to 12, each and every NCERT of geography, understand the concepts properly, then try and relate it with the environmental issues that are going around with the country along with disaster management. Then I would say that your whole geography would be complete, and then only you will be able to answer questions.
Yeah, so Preeti, if you see the syllabus of UPSC, then no doubt syllabus of UPSC is extremely vast. And when syllabus is so vast, so obviously there will be a lot of books, and there are a lot of books in the market. For example, in economics you'll find a lot of books, in polity you'll find a lot of books, in environment you'll find a lot of books. Now when we are speaking on the books, then let us differentiate between the books with respect to prelims examination and with respect to mains examination. Why I am saying it so, because in mains examination the syllabus is very volatile and fluid, and it is very difficult to say that this is my subject. For example, in mains examination there is a philosophy subject of philosophy, also there is subject of psychology also. But philosophy, psychology, these subjects have very limitation. It's confined only towards some of the topics in that entire mains syllabus, fine. So the very first job that you should do is to just list out which are the subjects that I should have command to crack UPSC. For example, when listing out the subject, you will write polity, history, disaster management, geography, blah blah blah. So in the mains part, mostly you'll have to read some sources in form of notes, or in form of some videos, or in form of some blogs and all. But in prelims examination, you'll find books and all. But since prelims examination is a very long examination which has been there in UPSC for the past so many years, in prelims more or less we have the books which are not much disputed. For example, in polity, we have M. Lakshmikant, that is again undisputed leader in polity. Then in economics, we have Ramesh Singh. In environment, book of Shankar IAS has become exceptionally popular. So what you do, or the people who are confused about this book list and all, first list out the subject and then watch the videos of toppers. So the videos of toppers, like when you watch the videos of Amol Srivastava and many such toppers, and just prepare your book list yourself. And if you are confused between 2 to 3 books, say for example, if someone says that for geography you should read A book or B book, then what you can do, you can just go for research. You can just find out the feedbacks and all. You can also find out some partial content of that book on the internet itself, and decide that this book is fine for me and I have to stick to this book also, this book only. And having said this, please note one more thing, that while interacting with so many rankers in the last few years, I've seen that rankers, the people who get good rank in UPSC, are those people who have limited resources. So when I'm saying you such a comprehensive process, that watch the video of toppers, then prepare a book list, this is not a wastage of time, but this will be a very rational investment in your UPSC. So please give 3 days, 4 days, even 1 week to prepare a holistic list of book and then execute it. Thank you. Jyoti, NCERT books have to be studied from class 6 to class 12 except science. So in science, you have to study just books from class 6 to class 10, but for other subjects, class 6 to class 12 books are recommended. Now, if you think that the books from class 6 books, they are of very baby level, of school level and all, then let me make it very clear that when the people study these books, NCERT books, in their schools, then the target is to get good marks in your school examination. But when you read any of the book from the perspective of UPSC, then the mindset becomes totally different. I will just give an example. For example, if you pick the book of class 6 itself of social and political life, then you will find that there is a story. In that story, in form of cartoons, the author has tried to explain how discrimination is there in our country, how there is there is a division between rural population and urban population, division between rich people and poor people, division between Hindus and Muslims and all. And in this way, in a very choreographed story, he has tried to explain the idea of unity and diversity of our country. So please read all the books. And having said this, even if you feel that class 6 book is quite easy for you, then the thing is that you can complete the class 6 book even in 1 to 2 days. So that will not put you much burden. Thank you. Yeah, next question. Yeah, Amol, please.
Since starting the preparation, as I told that first you have to decide that you are planning to prepare for the examination. Half-hearted efforts are not suggested. So once you have decided that you are going to start the preparation, then I would say that first thing you have to do is to start reading the newspaper. Okay, so give at least 50-20 days for this planning only. Newspaper you can start from the right first day, either the Hindu or the Indian Express, whatever you are comfortable with. Both the newspapers are fine. Now starting the preparation, you should make a proper schedule. Okay, think about NCERT or other books later on. First, make a proper schedule that what all time you have, how many hours you can give in a day, then what are the subjects you are going to prepare in what sequence, then what books you are going to start with, and how you are going to study, when are you going to join the tests, how are you going to evaluate yourself, when are you going to start the answer writing. So this is how first you have to plan. So give at least 15-20 days for this planning only. Now coming to NCERT or books, I would recommend start with NCERT because NCERTs are very important to build up the foundation. Right now, you must be doing some specialized course in your college, but UPSC is very generic. So to shift your mind from that specialized course to a general understanding of almost all the things that the UPSC exam requires, you have to study NCERT. So start with NCERTs, and as Ajay sir mentioned, that even if you find them those NCERTs easy, you can finish them off in less time. So that's an advantage to you. Once you're done with your NCERTs, then go to the basic books. Any basic books, you don't need a proper recommendation. You can just go through internet, what the toppers have suggested, what the coaching institutes have suggested. The books remain the same. There is no special book that will fetch you more marks. So NCERT, then special that books, and then maybe you can go on to your test and your answer writing. So this is the course of the preparation. And regarding books, I think you should watch some YouTube videos of toppers where they have mentioned all regarding books and strategies quite in detail.
Okay, next question. Please, revision strategy. Fine. So Sakshi and other people who are concerned about revision, first of all, revision is exceptionally important. It is extremely important for UPSC. And in fact, revision is the key to success in UPSC. Now, let me substantiate this with some data. If you see the cutoff of UPSC, then both in prelims examination and the mains examination also, the cutoff is hardly between 45% to 50%. In fact, in mains, there are many years when cutoff is like 38%, 39%. So the question is, this UPSC examination, which is said to be the toughest examination of the country, why people cannot score even 50% marks? And the answer is that it is very difficult for everyone to produce such a massive syllabus in prelims examination or mains examination. And there comes the role of revision. So when you are going to revision, the very first thing is that revision should be your habit. It should be daily affair. For example, if you complete polity, say in the month of January, and you switch to history in the month of February, then in Feb you have to make sure that you are also going to revise polity in the month of Feb. If you pick, say, economics in the month of March, then make sure that you are also revising in the month of March, whatever you have studied in January also and in Feb also. So this should be the strategy. Revision should be a regular affair. Now, apart from this, whenever examination is there, for example, we have prelims examination or mains examination, then just before the examination, you should go for revision. That is a kind of power booster. Power booster in the sense that entire 1 month, exclusive 1 month should be given only and only for revision and nothing else. So I'm just making the crux. On your daily basis, make revision a daily affair. But when it comes to the date of examination, make it a kind of power booster package, that is exclusive time has to be given for revision in the last 1 or 2 months. That's it.
Sir, I'd like to add one more thing here regarding
please.
revision. See, the whole purpose of revision is to keep on recollecting what all you have already studied. So the major mistake which aspirants make is that they try to finish off the syllabus first and then keep the next part for revision. That once our whole syllabus is over, then we will start revising. But if you see a normal human being, the capacity of remembering things is not more than 15 days, I think, what you have studied. So revision should be done parallel to your preparation. It should not be a stage subsequent to your preparation. It should do parallel. Suppose first week you have studied something, then next week at least give half an hour every day to study or revise whatever you have done the previous time. Then only you will be able to retain it. वरना जब आप 6 महीने बाद जब सिलेबस खत्म करके रिवाइज करने बैठेंगे तो it will be similar to that what the stage you were when you were starting the preparation. तो वो stage ना आए, इससे better है कि parallelly revise करते रहें. give Saturday, Sunday or some day in a week to revise whatever you have studied in the previous week. So उससे retention बढ़ता रहेगा, आपका pile up होती रहेंगी चीजें दिमाग में, so you will be able to recall them very easily. So this is the thing which I wanted to add. There is some network issue on the end of Mr. Ajay Shah, so I'll only take on the questions. So how to understand the syllabus as it is dynamic on its own. See, understanding the syllabus is very important. You first read the syllabus pretty well. Then, as I mentioned, that you should start reading the newspaper. So start relating things in the newspaper that you read to the syllabus. So then you will understand how the syllabus is dynamic. So this way you can do it. Also, when you study a subject, so there are around 15 odd topics mentioned in the syllabus, which are vaguely described. They are broad in nature. So try and shortlist or make a micro listing of this topic. That what all subjects, what all topics you have to study under that particular subject. So once you are able to make a listing, then it's just like a checklist. You have to finish off all the subjects. So this is how you can decode the syllabus. And also, I would recommend watch some YouTube videos where syllabus has been decoded. It will really help you. So next question, please. So is it possible to give answer the optional subject in English and the rest of the subject in Hindi? I'm not pretty sure about it. You can just go through the rules. But yes, I think there is some kind of some system exists like this, but I'm not very sure if it is pertaining to optional. I think only optional of Hindi literature or any other language literature you can write in that language, but obviously, but the rest I don't think it is possible. You just have to go through the rules. Next question, please. While preparing for UPSC, not having a question as a backup. Yes, Saurabh, that's a very important question, and that's a very valid question which most of the aspirants face. So you should definitely have a backup, but your backup should not compromise your UPSC preparation. Because अगर आप बैकअप के बारे में ज़्यादा सोचते रहेंगे तो शायद आप एक्चुअल प्रिपरेशन ही ना कर पाए, आपको लगता रहेगा साइड बाय साइड बैकअप की प्रिपरेशन भी करते रहें. So it will totally depend on you how honest and how dedicated you are towards your UPSC preparation. So based on that honesty and dedication, you can decide a number of attempts that you will give to UPSC wholeheartedly, and then you will move on to some other subjects. So like I had given 2 years wholeheartedly. I had given 2 years wholeheartedly for my preparation. So after that, I thought of going for any backup. So you also decide a particular time कि इतना time ही देना UPSC को पूरा पूरा, उसके बाद से parallel preparation start करें. So next question, please. Okay. So agriculture as an optional, I am not aware of agriculture as an option. Ajay sir, if you can help.
No, we are not aware. And one more thing, people, I'm in Ranchi और यहाँ का weather काफी खराब है, तो बीच में interruption हो जाए, so please अमोल आप संभालिएगा ना. काफी interruption, बहुत तेज आंधी आ रही है रांची में फिलहाल, ठीक है. राम भरोसे सब कुछ वैसे भी पहले से चल रहा है यहाँ पर. Anyway, so next question, please. We won't be able to answer about agriculture. Please, next question. So Delhi's UPSC demands very high level of understanding of concept, and superficial knowledge is not at all that will never work in UPSC. That might work in other examination, but in UPSC you need to have very deep level of understanding of every concept. I will just put an example in front of you. For example, in 2017 or 18, I guess there was a question about right to vote, and the options were like, what is right to vote, whether that is a constitutional right, legal right, fundamental right, natural right. These were the options. So the shocking part was that there was a split among all the coachings, all the analysts, all the political scientists. Someone would say that right to vote is a legal right. Someone would say right to vote is a constitutional right. But in reality, right to vote is a constitutional right, and not right to vote is also a legal right. But when you have to choose between constitutional right and legal right, right to vote will be a constitutional right. Now, who can solve this question? Only that person can solve this question who has deep clarity over all types of rights and how the rights are different from each other. And you can gain this knowledge only when you will study the class 9th book of NCERT Polity with a very deep level of understanding. So Delhi's deep level of understanding is very much important in this examination. Next question, please. Okay, Vishal, so you are in 4th year, so this is the right time to start, Vishal. So the people who just want to start for UPSC, I will just tell them the sequence of UPSC. So the sequence number 1 will be first start with basic books. Basic books in the sense you can start with NCERT. Along with NCERT, you can supplement the standard books with NCERT. Now, after this, means if you speak about the time span, then even the person who is very genius, he will take at least 1 year to complete entire syllabus of UPSC. So the sequence would be first complete the syllabus of UPSC from basic books or from the books of some coaching if you are planning to join some coaching. And after you complete the syllabus, start doing skill development. For example, skill development in the sense that you have to go for revision, you have to make your notes, you have to improve your answer writing, you have to go for notes consolidation, etc. And you have to keep appearing in this UPSC examination until you qualify. But I believe that if you go with a very good strategy, then you can qualify UPSC in the very first attempt. Thank you. Next question, please. How is maths as an optional? So Ria, maths as an optional is a very good optional. Now, why this is a good option? Because this year in 2019, I've seen that there are many people who have qualified UPSC with maths option. For example, one of our students, Shikhar Chaudhary, has cracked UPSC with maths optional in his very first attempt right after the college. But one point that has to be taken care of, that when you are going for maths optional, go for the maths option only when you are having very high and deep level of interest. In the sense you have affection for this subject, then only go for mathematics. Why I'm saying it? For two reasons. Firstly, the syllabus of maths will be quite deeper and that will not be of 11th and 12th level. Number two, maths is not going to help you in other parts of UPSC paper like in GS paper, essay paper, etc. And so go for maths paper or any of the technical paper like physics and all only when you are having very deep level of affection with the subject. Thank you. Amol, I think you can answer this question in better terms. PSI are optional. Just be brief, Amol, because I think we have a lot of questions now.
Okay, sir. So PSIR strategy for PSIR should be that you study the basics first, understand the PSIR is a very unique subject because it is a mix of philosophy and science because it's political science. So you have to study philosophy in a scientific manner. So that is how you should remember all the concepts. उसमें सिर्फ लिखने से कहानी लिखने से काम नहीं चलता है, उसको एक प्रॉपर साइंटिफिक लॉजिकल मैनर में आपको सब्जेक्ट्स को एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ता है, तो उसी से PSIR होगा. एंड आई डोंट थिंक द टाइम विल परमिट to discuss in detail. I have a video on YouTube regarding PSIR option. Please watch that, Radhika. It will be of great help to you.
Yeah, and Radhika and other people, please understand that we are concerned here to tell you a strategy, overall strategy to crack UPSC. But if we enter into subject-wise analysis, then that will require a lot of time. So please understand that. Okay. So which subject is best for optional subject? So Anshika, again, it's simply a rumor that this subject is good or this subject is bad, this subject is more scoring or this subject is less scoring. People qualify with any of the optional subject, but there are some factors which have to be there in your mind while selecting an optional subject. For example, factor number one is that you should have deep interest in the subject, because as far as optional is concerned, you need to have a very high level of knowledge. The syllabus is very vast and you can tackle this syllabus only and only when you are having very deep level of interest. So interest is the first factor. Second factor is that optional subject should be little popular. Now why I am saying that optional should be little popular, because to crack that optional subject you need resources in terms of books, resources in terms of a good teacher, good test series, and you will get good resources only when that option is little popular. Apart from this, the third factor can be the subject of your graduation. For example, this year Muskan Jindal, the youngest ranker, has cracked UPSC with commerce as her optional, and commerce was also her subject of study. But there are many people like Amol Srivastava. Amol is from mechanical engineering background, but he went for political science as an option. So this factor will work only when you decide this this decision of UPSC preparation only at the stage of your college, then you can take this factor into account. So I'm just making up the crux. There is nothing like good optional or bad option. So Anshika, go for the optional which you feel is good for you and you really want to study that subject. Now when I say when you really want to read the subject, it means that you also have to measure that you are having genuine interest in that subject. For example, I have seen that there are many people who take interest in knowing inflation, some news with respect to Bombay Stock Exchange, and they end up selecting economics as their option subject. So this is not a genuine interest in the subject, because economics, when you will see the syllabus of economics is extremely technical in nature, and the economic subject as an option is totally different from what we think in terms of general world. Thank you. Amol, please.
See, notes making is a very important part of this preparation, because इतनी सारी चीजें पढ़नी पड़ती हैं, इतने books पढ़ने पड़ते हैं. You study too many subjects in a day. So note making will help you in minimizing your content. तो अगर आपने मान लीजिए आज कोई बुक पढ़ी या कोई क्लास अटेंड करी, तो उसका अगर आपने नोट बना लिया, then next time you don't have to read that book again or attend that class again. The note will suffice. So the two basic things for note making should be, one, it should be directly helpful in examination. ऐसा नहीं हो कि आपने कहानी लिख ली है जिसका कोई अगले दिन यूज ही ना हो. जैसा एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आएंगे उसके हिसाब से आपको नोट्स बनाना है. अगर मेंस के आप नोट्स बना रहे हैं तो मेक नोट्स विच विल हेल्प यू इन आंसरिंग द क्वेश्चंस, नॉट नोइंग दैट सब्जेक्ट. वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में तो बहुत का सारी चीजें हुई, स्टोरी फॉर्म में मान लीजिए चीजें हुई, बट आप वो स्टोरी नहीं लिख सकते कि पहले किसने किस पर अटैक किया, फिर क्या हुआ, फिर कौन सा फैक्ट साइन हुआ. You have to make notes in the form of the questions that are being asked. This is number one. Secondly, your notes should be very precise. ऐसा ना हो कि आपने जो चीज पढ़ी है आपने उसको वर्ड टू वर्ड कॉपी कर लिया. मान लीजिए कि आपने कोई लक्ष्मीकांत पढ़ी है, स्पेक्ट्रम पढ़ी, वर्ड टू वर्ड आपने सारी चीजें कॉपी कर ली. योर नोट्स शुड बी अ क्रक्स ऑफ व्हाट यू हैव स्टडीड. सो इट शुड बी प्रिसाइज. एंड ऑल्सो जो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था कि आंसर राइटिंग कैसे डेवलप करें, तो जब आप कोई बड़ा कंटेंट पढ़ते हैं और उसका क्रक्स आप अपने वर्ड्स में नोट्स के फॉर्म में लिखते हैं, तो वो खुद में एक आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस होती है कि कैसे बड़ी चीज को एक छोटे से पैराग्राफ में कैसे लिखना है. तो शुरू में आप देखेंगे आपके नोट्स बहुत बड़े बड़े होंगे, बट ओवर द टाइम व्हेन यू आर गेटिंग कमांड ओवर आंसर राइटिंग, द नोट्स विल बिकम मोर प्रिसाइज, मोर एंड मोर एक्यूरेट. सो दैट इज हाउ यू हैव टू मेक द नोट्स.
Amol, it's your ball.
Yes,
Motivation.
that's a very interesting question, Daksh. My go-to motivation for any day, first would be to remember why I started this preparation. बहुत struggles होते हैं, बहुत mental frustration होता है when you are not able to clear in some attempt, और जब मार्क्स नहीं आ रहे होते हैं टेस्ट में, बट उसमें फिर सोचना पड़ता है कि शुरू क्यों किया था, गोल क्या है ऑफिसर बनने का. तो that's very important. अब उस गोल को कैसे, how to physically live that process, कि कैसे वो देखना है. तो you should watch topper videos on YouTube and videos of Labasna training. तो समझ में आता है कि जो क्या लाइफ होने वाली है क्लियर करने के बाद. इट इज अ वेरी बिग मोटिवेशन. तो आज आई एम वेरी लकी कि मैं लोगों से बात कर रहा हूँ. जब मैं प्रिपेयर करता था तो मैं टॉपर्स को ऐसे सुनता था. तो इट्स अ लकी डे फॉर मी ऑल्सो. तो ऐसे ही आप वीडियोस देखते रहिए टॉपर्स के, तो आपको मोटिवेशन होगा कि व्हाट इज योर लाइफ गोइंग टू बी आफ्टर यू क्लियर दिस एग्जामिनेशन. तो अपने आप एक रश आ जाएगा बॉडी में कि नहीं, आगे बढ़ना है. जो भी कमियां हो रही हैं, वी कैन जस्ट इम्प्रूव ऑन देम, वी कैन वर्क ऑन देम, एंड विल डेफिनेटली क्लियर दिस एग्जामिनेशन.
Yes, Amol.
See, while writing the exam, I think it's a distant thing right now. अभी तो आप प्रिपेयर करेंगे मेरे हिसाब से, तो उसकी सबसे अच्छी तरीका ये कि गिव एज मेनी टेस्ट एज यू कैन. आपकी जो टेस्ट होने चाहिए वो इतने स्ट्रगल होने चाहिए कि आपको इतनी प्रैक्टिस आप कर लें कि एग्जाम जो है वो आसान लगे. ये स्ट्रेटेजी होनी चाहिए टेस्ट की. तो मैं भी जैसे कई बार जब टेस्ट देता था, तो आई नेवर यूज टू सिट इन एन एसी रूम, आई नेवर यूज टू सिट ऑन अ कुशन्ड चेयर. जैसी भी टेबल मिली, जो भी चेयर मिला, कहीं और जाके किसी दूसरे रूम में किसी और सेंटर में टेस्ट दिए हैं. क्योंकि जब आपको स्कूल अलॉट होगा एक्चुअल एग्जाम में, यू नेवर नो कि उस टेबल और उस बेंच की क्या हालत होगी, लाइट आ रही होगी, इन्वर्टर होगा कि नहीं। तो ये सब चीजें ध्यान में रख के टेस्ट प्रैक्टिस किए जाते हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि आप अपने कमरे में एसी चला के अपने कुशन सीट पे बैठ के टेस्ट देंगे तो अच्छा होगा। तो यू हैव टू गिव दैट मच प्रेशर टू योर सेल्फ व्हाइल यू आर गिविंग द टेस्ट। तो दिस इज अ कॉमन सेइंग, द मोर यू स्वेट इन द प्रैक्टिस द लेस यू ब्लीड ऑन द बैटल ग्राउंड। तो जितना आप टेस्टिंग को और अपने प्रिपरेशन को वो बनाएंगे, रफ एंड टफ बनाएंगे, आई थिंक एग्जाम में आप कम एग्जॉस्ट होंगे। सो आई रिमेम्बर गिविंग 2 एग्जाम्स कंटिन्यूसली, 2 मॉक टेस्ट कंटिन्यूसली इन अ डे। 6 घंटा लगातार बैठ के मैंने 2 पेपर्स दिए हैं, सो दैट जब एग्जाम में सिर्फ 3 घंटा लिखना होगा तो आई थिंक वो थोड़ा आसान लगता है आपके माइंड को। सो इट्स ऑल योर साइकोलॉजिकल थिंग कि हम अपने बॉडी को कैसे ट्रेन करते हैं।
Okay, so Shreya, the people who are concerned about current affairs, so in current affairs, it's very, very important to read the newspaper on daily basis. So Shreya, you have to go for both. That means you have to read the daily newspaper also, and you have to also read the monthly current affairs magazine. Now, what is the logic behind it? The logic is that, see, for example, let us take any of the news. Say, for example, nowadays, a lot of news is there with respect to, say, election in Bengal, and there are so many debatable issue controversies that comes with respect to Bengal, Bangladesh, relationship between India, Bangladesh, blah blah. So many things are there. So this news will change every other day. Today something else will be there. Tomorrow something else will be there. So what is the role of monthly magazine? Monthly magazine, they will just compile the affairs of entire month in form of a notes. Now, what is the process? You have to read newspaper from day 1 to day 30, and every day you have read one news with respect to Bangladesh, West Bengal elections and all. And after reading the news with respect to West Bengal for entire 1 month, well, at the end of 1 month, you get a monthly magazine, compiled monthly magazine. Then you start recalling the things which you read in the last 1 month. And in this way, you can easily comprehend the entire matter. Number one. Number two, you can also save yourself from notes making exercise. For example, if you're not uh, study monthly current affairs magazine, you will have to make notes yourself, and which is a very bulky task. And if you will go directly to the monthly monthly magazines without reading a newspaper, then it will be very difficult for you to comprehend that compilation. That's it. Next question, please. Okay, so Kabir, the very first thing is that the people who are in first year, second year, or basically the people who are in college and who are in dilemma that whether you have to prepare for UPSC or not. So the very first thing is that this is a very, very crucial decision that you need to decide first that whether you have to go for UPSC preparation or not. Now, why I'm saying this so, I have seen that the people who decide in their college itself that they have to prepare for UPSC, then their preparation strategy, their academics, their daily routine, their planning of life, everything revolves around this preparation for UPSC. So I will just give you some small examples. For example, this year I was just interviewing two of our rankers. The first is Sresh Anupam, rank 19, and then Shikhar Chaudhary, rank 97. So both of these people are from IIT, and both are not having very good marks in IIT, but both have qualified UPSC, one in second attempt and another one in first attempt. So they told me that from the day one in the college itself, they decided that they have to prepare for UPSC. And since this decision was very firm in their mind, so they decided to compromise a little on academics and focus entirely on UPSC, and that is why they could excel in their first and second attempt respectively. So Kabir, when you decide that you have to prepare right from the first year, your entire academics, your preparation, your coaching, everything will revolve around that thing, that is you have to prepare for UPSC. And one more thing, Kabir, since you are in subject of graduation, so the people who are in graduation, they have to decide that whether they have to go in the field of government services or not, and whether they have to go in non-government services also, then that decision also you have to take today only, and in that way only you have to plan your academics. Yeah, Amol, your take on this?
See, it depends a lot on what is your optional subject. Suppose your optional subject is same as your graduation subject, then it's the perfect strategy कि आप फर्स्ट ईयर से ही तैयारी करते रहे उस सब्जेक्ट की, तो यू विल डेफिनेटली बिकम अ मास्टर. बट इसमें ध्यान रखिएगा कि कई ऑप्शनल में यूपीएससी का अप्रोच थोड़ा अलग होता है एंड कॉलेज का अप्रोच थोड़ा अलग होता है, सो यू विल हैव टू maneuver between those two. In case you are changing your option from your graduation subject, then I would recommend कि पहले आप GS पढ़ लें, एक जनरल आइडिया हर चीज का हो जाए. Then you start shortlisting which subjects you like the most out of those general studies, and then start studying a little bit of those two three subjects, some books, some previous year question papers, and so on. And then you decide your option and then prepare for optional. तो ऑप्शनल पढ़ने के लिए जीएस का बेस अगर होगा तो इट विल बी गुड, बट अगर वो ग्रेजुएशन सब्जेक्ट है तो यू शुड स्टार्ट.
Amol,
See,
what
a
is the
timetable.
timetable?
Yes. See, timetable should be something that is very personal to you. To all the people who are listening to us, it will differ. So it will depend कि आप मॉर्निंग पर्सन है कि नाइट पर्सन है, आपका पढ़ाई करना चाहते हैं, आप कॉलेज में हैं कि कॉलेज के बाद पढ़ाई करना चाहते हैं, कॉलेज जाने से पहले पढ़ाई करना चाहते हैं, वीकेंड्स में पढ़ना चाहते हैं. इट विल डिपेंड अ लॉट. सो द बेस्ट स्ट्रैटेजी वुड बी टू डिवाइड योर डे इनटू 4 slots or 3 slots depending upon your free time, and then divide those slots, allocate something to that slot, in which newspaper, current affair magazines are mandatory. You can take 1 to 2 subjects of GS as per your convenience, and depending upon your situation, once you complete your GS, then you can give 1 slot to your optional also. And so this is how it should be done. It should be done slot wise instead of dividing your day into time. Better to divide it into slots. Next question, please.
Thank you, sir. Just some final words and suggestion to our viewers.
Okay, so thank you, Daksh. And the questions were really nice. This is a new platform on which I am doing a platform seminar, so it will be difficult to the audience to get adapted to it. But really, I really enjoyed the questions, and it's always nice to speak to young minds and to answer their questions, because even I can feel when I was in that situation, so I can understand what all you all might be going through. So it was really nice answering those questions, and I just want to tell everybody that please be safe right now. The situation is not good, so please follow all the COVID protocols, and let's hope everything will be right. And thank you so much, Ajay sir, for having me here. And thank you, Daksh.
I'm sure everyone has learned a lot from your great words, and they will definitely walk on the path guided by you. Thank you taking for a precious time and be a part of this session. Lastly, I would like to thank the attendees for being such a great audience. Thank you, sir.